Thank you for joining us, Michael. How are you today?
Pretty good, mate. How are you?
Doing good, thank you. Michael, in your opinion, what are the top three things that attract today's young talents, the so-called Gen Y, the most? And how vastly different is it from the previous generation?
I think the top three things are, first and most important, I think culture. I think that the culture of an organization is what attracts people to it. Ask any Gen Y kid whether they had the opportunity to work at somewhere like Apple or Microsoft or somewhere really kind of cool and funky. Of course they're going to say they're going to do it. And secondly, I would say mentors and the people within the organization. I think that Gen Y are very much attracted to people who are willing to take them under their wing. And third, I think a sense of autonomy. I think if when Gen Y are given the opportunity to run their own schedule per se, I think that that's when they get very excited and very interested. But I think these things are common across most generations. I think most people want to do these kind of things. So I think the difference with Gen Y is that all our lives we've been told we can be whatever we want. We've been told we can do whatever we want. And now we're joining the workforce. We believe we can do whatever we want, so we don't know any different, which is the big difference between the other generations.
Yes, actually interesting. You mentioned culture, mentors, and autonomy, and you didn't mention money or compensation at all. You think this is kind of passé, especially in today's generation?
I think there's lots of people out there who are motivated by money. I think that's great, but I think that most Gen Y people are still under the age of 30, so money isn't a primary driver. Experience and the time that they're going to have while working at the workplace. I think that's their primary driver. Give it 10 years, money might become a bit of a more primary driver.
Right, I understand. Do you think Gen Y has entrepreneurship embedded in their DNA? What's your opinion on this?
I don't think anybody has. I don't think anybody necessarily has entrepreneurship embedded in their DNA. I was talking about this recently with my mentor, and the challenge that we have is that it's very hard to prove if there is an entrepreneurship gene. But there is one thing called the Restless Gene. And the Restless Gene is this idea that you can't, that you're always searching for something. You're never settled. And that's quite common among Gen Y people. But I think what the difference is that Gen Y have had the opportunity to do something a little different, which is the internet's around. And that gives them the opportunity to start a micro business on a much smaller scale at a much younger age. And I think that that's prompted Gen Y to become more entrepreneurial in their behaviour. But I don't think they were necessarily born more entrepreneurial. I think that simply the environment that we grew up in gave us a bit more entrepreneurial flair, so to speak. So
this restless gene that you were talking about is kind of interesting. You think it's generally good or generally bad?
I think it's fabulous. I think what's the crushing thing is that when you have a restless gene and you don't do anything about it, that's when you see real problems. People who are, hugely charismatic individuals, but not externalizing that enough, so they become very unpredictable and irrational. But when you have the gene and you go out and you chase your dreams and you do the things that you want to do, then yeah, it's awesomely, it's fabulous. Yeah, so it's a curse and a blessing. So, but I think that many people have it.
I want to talk about your company. Can you tell us a bit more about Mediasense and how do you think you can add value to different industries, specifically SSOs?
Yeah, so Mediasense is primarily an educational game developer and digital agency. So we're partners with many large organisations in Australia, and we had the mission of we wanted to take analog companies digital, and this came to fruition very quickly as we started to take traditional book publishers into the digital realm by making educational video games, which have been extraordinarily successful. And I guess where we can really add value is, I guess what we're really on the search for is we'd love to be able to work with outsourcing agencies throughout Asia. And we have a lot of great senior leadership from Australia fantastic video game developers, fantastic designers, fantastic programmers, and with the ability to outsource some of our work and our expertise into this region, I think we can grow bigger, and we can support the development of other agencies and other businesses around here. And hopefully they can play our video games and everyone's a winner. So
I'm hearing about this term gamification. Have you come across that word? It seems to be a big buzzword these days.
give me a
You
second.
have something there on the spot?
I'll show you.
Good. I think that makes it much better.
So I hate the word gamification, but this is the gamification of the human skeletal system. What do you want to learn? What do you want to learn? And yeah, so we do this gamification thing.
So you did that at Mediasense?
Yeah, we did this, but we do this on steroids. Gamification is kind of like our life. We don't call it gamification because if you do gamification properly, it is a game.
Right.
It's not gamifying anything. You are making a game, and I think that that's the difference, is that gamification is a watered down version of actually making a game. If you're going to make a game,
Yeah.
make a game. Like, make it a game. We've found going halfway.
So in your company, do you have a name for that?
No, it's just called being awesome.
Okay. That's a better term.
Just go make something awesome, and that generally works pretty well.
Okay.
So,
Well, thank you so much. We really enjoyed this conversation, Michael.
anytime, mate.